Warranty Wire,
customer trust,
AI.
every day in the warranty world.
Welcome back to the Warranty Wire, the place for real talk about warranty in the age of automation, AI, and elevated expectations. So today's topic is around digital engagement post-sale. So today I am joined by Becca Hogan-Miller. So welcome, Becca.
Thank you.
So I want to kick things off on this topic because I've talked a little bit around digital engagement post-sale, but in the warranty space, kind of what exactly do we mean when we talk about post-sale?
We define post sale as any transaction that occurs outside of the sale of that asset. So when you go to a dealership, you purchase the vehicle. Typically, about 40% of customers will say yes to F&I protection at that time. But then what happens after the sale? So we define post sale as you didn't buy protection when you bought the vehicle or the power sport or you financed your home, and being able to offer protection after they leave that transaction.
Okay. And when we talk about kind of the point of sale side of things, so you have vast amounts of knowledge when it comes to this sort of space, but what sort of numbers are we talking about in terms of the customers that are actually buying protection at the point of sale?
So about 40% will buy in the dealer space. And the reason why it is only 40% is that customers have been sitting with that dealer or uh, finance office for a long period of time. And they may feel pressured in the way that the sale is delivered to them. They don't feel like they're educated or informed about what they're buying. And at that point, sometimes they're just ready to get out of there. They're not in the mood to add any more, line items to the cost because they're already financing something that's typically pretty expensive when it comes to an asset or a home, and so what we'll typically see is a customer is like, "No, I'm good. I wanna get out of here," and then there's not much that's being done after the sale, but there is endless opportunity to reengage those customers whenever they are ready to buy and buy on their own terms.
Okay. So I guess math has never been my particular strong point, but 40% buys, that leaves about 60%. I know, quick math, but about 60% that don't purchase, or that kind of don't buy right then. So talk a little bit around kind of that post-sale marketing space. What does that look like today?
So what we're seeing today in the space when it comes to post-sale is heavily revolved around mailers still. So typically customers will get an envelope mailed to them 30, 60, 90 days after they purchase that asset. And the messaging around that marketing material is very much fear tactics. So a lot of times you'll see an envelope that says, like, even on the outside, it's like, you must open or your vehicle will explode, something crazy. And then, once you get that marketing material, it's more focused around your lapsed in coverage, you're gonna go into debt, this is gonna be super expensive, rather than informing the customer about what it is that they're gonna buy. So typically what you'll see is still the traditional mailers, and it's not really a digital approach, and then the call to action to even buy is to call in and talk to somebody. So even if your initial purchase of the asset was entirely online, now the post-sale marketing doesn't align with that for the customer. So there's a big, breakdown in the customer experience in post-sale marketing today.
Yeah, and you'll be pleased to know that that kind of scare tactic, those kind of horror lines are over the pond as well. We get them over here as well. So it's not specific to the US market. We definitely get them over here as well. And I suppose you've talked a little bit there about, well, there's a lot of companies that are saying digital engagement post sale. But when you've got a physical mailer, you've got to physically pick up the phone and speak to somebody. You've got physical documents. None of that is digital when it comes
Right.
to engagement post sale. It's all still the onus is on the customer to have to contact us, to have to get a rate, to have to purchase. There's none of it that's digital.
Right, and that's just not how customers buy anything today. So you gotta move towards a digital solution to be able to educate those customers at a time that they're comfortable with. Let them be on their couch at 10 p.m. at night whenever their mind is rolling and be able to understand what this coverage is, how it can bring value to them, and then click buy without having to schedule a time to call, wait for a call back, and so on.
Exactly.
So, what you typically see in post sale, again, is a lot of fear mongering of your car's going to explode. And again, it's not that digital process. So, being able to give customers a digital experience on how they buy everything else today is where you're going to see a lot more success, where they can make an educated decision on their own terms from the comfort of their own home. So, Matt, what's your thoughts on how that digital experience can be delivered to customers in post sale warranty today?
Yeah, so I think where I think back to this is one of the clients that we did some work with in the F&I space. So they had a very solid product which was around debt protection. So a debt protection product that was offered during the point of transaction of a loan. So you think you go into the credit union, you go into the bank, you take out that loan, and then you're typically offered debt protection for things like unemployment, disability. Now, previously, that protection was only offered at that point of loan origin. So you're in the credit union office, you've just taken out the loan, you've maybe just taken out, 20, 30, 40K in a loan. The last thing you want to then be doing is looking at, okay, how do I then add another two, three, 4,000 onto that? It's something you need to look at kind of over time. And as you mentioned there, Becca, kind of digest it 10 p.m. at night when you've had more time to think about it. So where we worked with this client was being able to utilize our digital e-commerce platform. So we were able to brand that up in line with the credit union branding. So for the end consumer, there's no kind of break in that customer journey, and then be able to trigger an email with marketing and a personalized quote. So it wasn't just a generic, hey, do you want to take this out? It was personalized to them. Now, one of the really cool things that we did with this client as well was once that consumer clicked on the link, all of their loan, all of their customer information was populated on the site. Again, as I mentioned, with the credit union's branding, and the customer can then transact in digestible monthly payments. So it's no longer a case of, hey, two, three, $4,000 on top. It's actually you can pay this off monthly. You still get exactly the same coverage as if you took it out in the credit union office. Kind of keeping in line with that digital engagement side of things, the transaction was entirely online. So again, going back to your point, Becca, there's no need to pick up the phone, there's no need to speak to somebody. The brand awareness is still at the top of the mind for that consumer. So for us, it was really cool, and me being involved in this project to be able to import a whole new product to our offering, brand new asset type, so covering a loan, and actually being able to enable custom configuration to the e-commerce site. And I
What kind of
guess
turnaround time did you see with that on adding a brand new asset, being able to rate on new underwriting terms, present to the consumer, transact a new product? That's a lot of work.
it certainly was a lot of work, yeah, and from the point of, confirming exactly what it was we wanted to do, our turnaround time was around 12 weeks to be able to fully configure all of that, stand up the digital site, kind of have the product loaded and everything kind of from the back end. So when you start to compare 12 weeks with, what we are genuinely seeing in the industry of anywhere from 12, 18 months up to 2 years with a huge price tag associated with that, it was a complete game changer for the client and for their consumers as well.
That's awesome. So with that seller or that client, what were they doing before that? Before they had this digital way to transact that debt protection product?
So for this client, there was no post-sale engagement. For them, it was you either purchase it at the point of loan origination, or that was it. It's a completely missed opportunity. So I think we were looking at around probably 20 to 25% of consumers who would potentially purchase debt protection at the point of loan origination, but then would typically cancel within, you know, 7 days, 10 days, because it's suddenly you get home and you think, I've just taken out a 40K loan and I've just added another 4K on top of it. So there's a really high cancellation rate with that
Mhm.
client. In contrast with us, we see probably about an 18% attachment rate through the e-commerce channel, but that 18% attachment rate has a really long tenure to it. So we see a really low cancellation rate. We see consumers month after month continuing to pay those premiums because that $4,000 term product has now been broken down into more manageable chunks.
Now, in that monthly product, and so instead of it being a 4K upfront cost that the customer has to put on their credit card in addition to taking out a loan, now it's a digestible monthly price. Does that have like interest, premium finance? Like what kind of terms are associated with that monthly cost?
So in terms of that monthly cost, other than kind of the typical sales tax that you would see with any product, it's really easy and simple for the consumer to see, here's my retail cost. I've got no added extras. I've got no additional, things hidden away that I'm going to find out in 6 months. It was dependent on the level of coverage that you want and dependent on the loan amount. Here is your monthly retail cost. It doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, and you can budget for that.
So it's just a true month-to-month charge on your credit card. It's not an additional loan agreement or premium finance.
Exactly. We always liken it to a gym membership or a Netflix membership, and it's an analogy that we've used multiple times, but exactly the same. You know what it's going to be month over month. You know when the end term is going to be to that. So for this particular product, it would run in line with the loan term as well. So you know exactly how much I'm paying, how long I'm paying for, and more critically, what I'm covered for.
So now for this client who didn't have any post-sale opportunity before, now they're able, if there are customers that didn't purchase at time of loan origination, they're just what, selling in their sleep? How does it work?
Yep, exactly that. So we would essentially get access to that um, book of business for that client. So any missed opportunities for each individual credit union, we would just set up a branded e-commerce site for each of those credit unions, and then we can potentially manage the marketing. Or with this particular client, they would employ someone else to manage that outreach, to manage that marketing, and it means that that customer can purchase 1 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. in the morning, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. And to that client, they then are able to potentially, if it's their own product, have those premiums, or if it's an existing Axiom product, they can earn additional revenue on top of their bottom line, because you potentially will set up commission for that product. And like you said, it's while you sleep. It's minimal to no effort for that client to implement this.
And what did you say the conversion rate was on it?
So our e-commerce is around 18% at the moment. From the point of quote to purchase is around 18%. Now, when you compare that to industry standard, we're way north of that. Way north. We're
Yeah,
probably
industry
looking at
standard is like 3%. And I think that's because it's that term price. So it's that lump sum cost that you're having to pay all at once. And for a customer, that's scary. That's a lot of money to put down at one time. But if you can break it up into those monthly payments without all the fine print of interest rates and things, it's a lot more digestible and easy for a customer to buy.
exactly. And one of the things I would add to that as well is, one of the things that we did was we actually pre-populated, as I mentioned, a lot of that existing customer loan and customer information. So whereas previously the customer may have had to input the monthly loan amount, the term, put all of their information in, we were able to pre-populate that. So even at the point of quote, we were able to save about 4 clicks just on the quote process. So we would drive them straight into that product page where they can, initially just start to see the monthly premiums and start to see the amounts that are associated, versus with a lot of other e-commerce sites that, even outside of us, we've seen you have to go through multiple pages, multiple clicks just to be able to see a price. For that consumer, it's just, what's it going to cost me? What am I
Yes.
going to be cool for?
Some of these questionnaires I've seen in the market are crazy. It's like down to your blood type and social security number. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little, but the amount of forms that you have to fill out before you even get a price, a lot of times pages and pages, all your information, your spouse's information, what's your favorite color? What did you want to be when you grow up? And then you click submit and it's like someone will be calling you with a quote.
Exactly.
There's nothing
Exactly.
more frustrating as a consumer. It's like just the price. like treat it like Amazon. When I go and I want to buy something, let me buy it. Stop creating so much friction for customers. It doesn't have to be that hard.
No, exactly. And you say you're exaggerating, but in reality, not that much. A lot of these e-commerce sites that exist today, you have to part with a huge amount of information, and most of the time, information that consumers don't have. So when we talk about, VIN numbers, that type of thing, I don't know my VIN number.
Right.
Whereas the way that, we typically do it with our vehicle asset is you don't need your VIN number to be able to get a quote. You can just input your make and model. That's all you need. But yeah, yeah,
And not only that, with populating customer information on the site, not only is it making it less friction for them, it streamlines their flow through the site, but it also builds trust because now as a consumer, I click on the site, I get a personalized email from a credit union that I already work with, and then it's already addressing me in my personalized quote specific to my loan. I go to the site and it already has my information. I'm like, okay, yes, this was completely built directly for me. It's customized coverage. They know who I am. And so not only does it reduce the amount of effort it takes as a consumer, it also builds trust for me to be able to buy it and be confident with my purchase.
yep. And that's massively important in the time of phishing and spam emails at the moment, which, being in the IT and the banking industry, I am highly suspicious of everything that comes to my email address.
Mhm.
Um, again, it falls in line with what the consumers expect nowadays is a personalized journey.
Absolutely.
So I guess in closing, we've talked a lot about digital engagement post sale. What would be your kind of closing thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's a huge opportunity that sellers in the warranty space need to take advantage of. You can sell in your sleep. You can create customized personal offers where consumers buy and it pays off. 18% conversion rate is huge. There's so much benefit there and there's very minimal effort for the seller. So you kind of be crazy not to leverage a digital e-commerce solution post sale.
Exactly. And I think for me, the one thing over the last few years is digital engagement. It's not a nice to have anymore. It's a baseline and it's an expectation when it comes to consumers. So as a seller, if you're not giving customers that seamless branded experience after the initial sale, then there is a huge, huge missed opportunity. And actually, it's zero lifting for you as a seller. We'll do all the hard work. You just reap the benefits.
That's right.
So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you for listening again to the Warranty Wire. So if any of you listening want to talk more about how to maybe build a smarter post-sale journey, then please reach out. We're always up for that conversation.
Warranty Wire,
Customer trust.
AI.
every day in the warranty world.